So the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to the wonderful world of wellness with Dr. Andy Mencia. This medical program heard from 7 to 7:30 each Saturday right here on WSBR 740 AM is brought to you by the Adult and Geriatric Center under the medical direction of geriatrician Dr. Andy Mencia. Okay, well, here we are, and it is Saturday, February the 25th. It's a hot Saturday. And I'm so glad that I have two experts here this morning. Of course, Dr. Mencia and Dr. Coleman, who is now a part of the wonderful world of wellness with the Adult and Geriatric Center. And we were talking about topics, and of course, Dr. Coleman is an expert in hormone replacement, and hormone replacement has another side to it. It has sexual activity, doesn't it, Dr. Coleman?
Yes, it does.
You know, and we were discussing as one ages, I mean, it's fine, you're young, and Dr. Mencia is young, and, you know, and even as young as you are, you're not 18 and you're not 20, and things don't happen the way they used to sexually. Even, I can tell you that. As attractive as all of you are, there are changes. But as one ages and they become 50 and 60, they don't know about those changes. And they get nervous and scared. And as you know, they get nervous and scared and it doesn't work. But let's talk about the people who are 70 and 80 who still want some sort of contact with whether it's their partner or someone else. So what you do at the Adult and Geriatric Center is to help them keep that, don't you?
Yeah, what we try to do is basically help people maintain their libido through a balancing of the hormone act, which there's a lot of things that go into that. But once you're able to get everything balanced in terms of the estrogen levels for ladies and a little bit of testosterone, and then the testosterone for men and not getting too much estrogen for men, then things start to work and everybody's confidence goes up, so they're much more successful.
And a lot of times, you know, it's also the society. Society will teach people, you know, through different way that as you age, sex is no longer important for you. And that's a big myth, you know. It's regardless of a person's age, you know, sex is still an integral part of their life. They just learn to suppress the desire for sexual intercourse and having a relationship. And you see a lot of people that go years and years and feel that it would be wrong for them to have a partner again. So we need to. One of the things that Dr. Coleman will do is work from the psychological point of view and from the social point of view. That it's okay to talk about the topic with him. And then let's dig into your inner part and see what's wrong, hormonal level. Let's replace those things. But you can put all the hormone you want, and Dr. Coleman will tell you, all the hormones there, if you are severely depressed, you won't be able to function, correct?
That is correct.
Well, Dr. Coleman, I'm glad that you're here because I had an instance the other day, which is funny. I have a woman, a friend, who's, I think she's in her 70s. Her husband passed away last year, and people talked to her about getting on some of the sites on the internet to find someone. So she's getting on there, and there are lots of people. But so she said to me, yeah, but they all want to go take me to bed. And I said, how do you know that? And she said, well, that's what men want. I said, that's not necessarily true.
It's another myth.
No, it is a myth because there are a lot of men who are widowers who miss the companionship. And sure, maybe they want to fondle each other, but a lot of them are probably not even capable of doing some of these things. But there are a lot of myths out there. But how do we know that she's even, capable of anything? We don't even know that.
The best thing to do is to have a complete physical, check everything out, make sure that everything is healthy, make sure that there's enough hormones there to be able to have a normal sexual response for the female. And then next thing is to work on the male's end to really help them get enough confidence to get them back to where they can do what they want to do. because once a man has a erectile dysfunction failure, it's very common that he becomes scared and doesn't want to do anything at that point, even though he wants to be with his partner.
Yeah, one of the good things Dr. Coleman will do is that he will see the couple. He will talk to the couple and work with the couple, because sometimes the man will say one thing, then the woman will say something, and one is in the sky, the other one is down here on earth, and he will bring them together, and then he has Dr. Gillette, the psychologist, that will come in and do her part. So it's a real integrated system where the winner is always the patient.
That's true. And do you find it easy? You may find it easy to talk to people about this. There are a lot of doctors who don't find this as easy.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
No, you just have to develop a level of trust with that person, and you're there to try to help them feel as good as they can possibly feel. So if you take that perspective and just try to help them, put down the barriers and just start talking to them, you can definitely help them get to where they want to be.
And something you said before that you wanted to also talk about losing weight. I think a lot of people don't like their body, and a lot of people have gained weight over the years, and they, it's one thing if you've been married and you've been together, but for people who now are out there exploring new relationships, they probably worry about that, and you can help them with that too, can't you?
Well, one of the biggest problems is that as a person's body weight goes up, in men and women, it increases their estrogen levels, which in men is not helpful, because those are the things that lead to the man breast, the gynecomastia, and it also leads to prostate cancer. So it's actually the estrogen that's causing the problem in that situation. And in women, if they feel too big, then they tend to feel less sexy and less attractive, and therefore they don't want to get involved.
That's so true. I'm so glad as a man, you're a physician, but you're also a man, and you can understand that. That's one problem. And of course, Dr. Mencia knows I wrote a book called Live to Be 100 Plus, and the big situation is people are going to be living. So here you have these 85, 90-year-old women and men, and they're all hot to trot, but then they can't. You're into with horses. I thought that would be appropriate, but no, but they are. They dress up. They go get themselves looking beautiful. Mm-hmm. But then what happens at the end of the date? What's really going on?
Exactly.
So I think having a psychologist be able to talk to them, if they can get them to talk. You see, that's the other thing, because most doctors, even gynecologists, never discuss this.
They don't discuss.
They don't.
No.
Are you afraid? What's the problem with you doctors?
Well, I mean, you don't have a lot of people out there, like, for example, like Dr. Coleman, that have gone out of his way, and I have done the same thing, going out of our way and study the best way to bring back a hormone balance and do it in a natural way versus a chemical way. And once you see the hormones and once you see the response of your patient, then that's the motivation to Dr. Coleman and myself to continue to promote this, because we see this is something that is working. I have one of the students that was rotating with Dr. Coleman and myself from Nova, and one of my patients, 92 years old, his birthday was coming up. So he asked me, Dr. Mencia, what do you think a little Viagra? And the student felt offended.
No kidding.
She walked out of the room and said, this old man, he's asking for Viagra. So I had to sit down with the student and say, well, let me educate you a little bit about sex. And I want you, that was her homework. And then she came back a totally different person. And she said, when that happened the first time, I just thought of my grandparents asking me for Viagra. I said, well, will you give it to them? And she said, well, now after I went and reviewed, yes. But before I would say...
You really hit... Oh, that upsets me so when people...
So a lot of doctors don't even want to talk about it. They don't have the level of education, right?
I think the key is that you have to create a trusted relationship with that person, whether it's a man or a woman, so that they feel that they can actually talk to you about some of the innermost secrets. and know that you're out there to try to help them achieve what they want to achieve.
Can we talk about the hormone replacements a minute? How do they take them? Is this in a pill form? Are these injections? What are they?
It depends. In women, it's mostly creams, and it's usually a mixture of estrogen, maybe a little bit of testosterone, if it's needed, and some progesterone to make everything safe. And in men, it can be either a cream or it can be an injection. Just depends on what levels they're at and what levels they need. So we customize that for each individual person. And it's kind of like a symphony. So when you add a little bit of this, you have to take away a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. And it's a little tricky. So like I said before, it only took me about 10 years to get this figured out. So
well, it's so important, though, because, and I know Dr. Mencia will agree, that that's called health. I mean, so if someone is not having a good sexual health, it can affect the rest of all their other health, can it?
Well, yes. And well, you imagine erectile dysfunction can be very common in persons that are overweight. So an obese person, when they come, I will tell them, we can help you with your erectile dysfunction. You need to see Dr. Coleman and Nicole, and let's work on reducing some weight. And a lot of times, just by losing the weight, they feel much better. They function better.
Yeah, that is so true. But, of course, and we talked to Nicole last week, saying to lose weight is a lot harder than actually having it happen. But if you have a doctor that, you're going to laugh at this, I think doctors should have their little prescription pad, because people adhere to that, and it should say, take this is what you have to do for this week and all, and it should be to do with losing weight, but it should say, eat only this, eat only that, and it should be on a prescription pad.
Well, one of the most important things to remember about being overweight is that when you're carrying a lot of fat around the belly, that is literally a chemical factory making all kinds of very, very negative immunomodulator chemicals, which are causing a lot of joint problems, can cause depression, can cause skin rashes, can cause lots of other really bad things to happen to you. So the reason that obesity is so dangerous is that it's not only affecting your lipids, but it's also affecting all of the neuroendocrine hormones that are produced in the body.
Well, that's news, because they do talk about that there's a certain body mass, and that's probably something you're going to do there along with Nicole, knowing just how fat someone really is.
Well, when a person's body mass index goes above 30, that's when we typically see them getting into a lot of problems. Those are the people who are typically carrying much more fat than what their body was designed for. I was very lucky to have had some great teachers in my life. And one of my teachers was Dr. Paul Martinez, who runs the VIP Medical Weight Loss in Wellington. And when we were working together, we were able to create some very, very unique strategies that no other clinics were able to do in terms of medical weight loss. So anybody that's out in that area, see Dr. Martinez if you need to lose weight if you're in that area. And if you're down by Fort Lauderdale, you can come and see us.
Well, Dr. Mencia, you have really started to acquire some wonderful medical staff at your institute, and it's exciting, because no matter what the problem that someone has, it sounds like you have all the intellectual properties, as we call it.
We have all the ingredients there.
I think maybe it's time for those of you who are listening, and I know a lot of you have been listening for a long time to The Wonderful World of Wellness with Dr. Andy Mencia and his associates. The number to call for an appointment is 954-489-1345. That's 954-489-1345. Dr. Mencia, are people actually coming from listening to the radio show, and what are they saying?
Well, a lot of people, they love the fact that we are very natural in bringing the information out there. It's no script. When a show is scripted, the person receiving the information will question. This is coming from your heart and my heart and Dr. Coleman's heart. We're just sitting here having a conversation. And on the other side, we have our audience there listening to us. And one of the person that came to see me this week, he worked for the postal service, post office, and he was saying to me that he loved that fact of the show, that it's not scripted, that it's a live show, and he can tell that we are all in the station talking. That this is not a phone conversation or anything like that.
Well, we do try to keep it real, because once the patients know that we're for real and we're trying to help them, then we have a much higher level of communication.
Right. And we're not selling anything. We're here giving information. Dr. Coleman and myself, we just look forward. Nicole, she say, I'm sorry I cannot be there, but I promise you in March, I'm going to be there. I want to be with you guys. And so we do it from our heart. We are happy to be here. We are enthusiastic to be here and bring the information to people. They don't have to come and see us. If they have their doctor, at least they can become a smarter consumer when they go to their doctor and say, well, I want to talk about my erectile dysfunction or my sexuality. And if your doctor turns away from you, then you say, okay, Dr. Coleman and Dr. Mencia were right. I need to look for somebody else.
Well, I happened to have been there on Thursday morning, and I did buy a sonic toothbrush because of Dr. Rosemary, and I have to study it so I can get it all put together. But I noticed some of your patients, they were so happy. They were so loving, and, of course, you always show them so much affection. That is literally unheard of in today's medical practice. And you're a very busy doctor, so it's not like you have just time on your hands, but you heal them without actual medicine. You are an amazing physician, Dr. Mencia. I've really observed that.
One of the things that you're going to notice when you come to our center, and one of the approach to medicine I have initiated it was about 18 years ago, because I started this system in New York, in Long Island. When you come and see Dr. Coleman and myself, we have the assistant doing a lot of the background work for us, so that the time that we spend for the patient is a one-on-one. We are listening to you, we are looking at you, we are examining you. So even if we spend 20 minutes with you, it's quality time. I have sometimes patients, Steve, that have come to me and say, oh, I left Dr. So-and-so, great physician, right in the area. I say, why did you leave that doctor? It's a great doctor. Well, most of the time, he spent the time talking into this little machine, the recording, instead of talking to me.
I think we're very lucky, because the vibration in our office is so positive, and it's so caring. And people really do get that. They understand it.
Yeah, and your staff, the people who you work with, are that way, and that's really important. I don't see any long faces, and I go there very early in the morning sometime, but everyone is just so terrific. In fact, the worst problem that one of your staff member has had when I was there is that she couldn't get the show on her little phone. So everybody is all, they're in high peak, and especially I have to give some compliments to Mike, who works in the dental department. He's amazing. I mean, he really is.
He's amazing.
And he'll stretch over to other people, whatever he can do to help. He
will go out of his way 1,000 times to make sure the patients are well taken care of.
Now, we haven't really discussed that, but I think that when people come in, they may have dental problems, and maybe, I don't know if that affects could that affect their sexual?
Well, it affects their entire health. So if you do have dental problems, they need to be addressed, because that's one of the largest sources of inflammation in the body. And inflammation in the body causes all kinds of problems: heart attack, stroke, arthritis, all kinds of other problems. So,
and also when you go out on the first date.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to talk about halitosis.
How well do I know you?
You knew me. What are you see in my brain?
No scripted.
No scripted. That's true. Go ahead.
When you go on the first date, your smile, the way you speak, says about your honesty. So if you are unable to smile because your bridge is falling off, or your dentures are kind of loose, it's projecting negativity. instead of opening a relationship. So it's important to take care of your mouth from the health point of view, and also from the social point of view.
No, that's very true. That's why I think that it's really the whole person. You really do have a holistic practice, isn't that? I mean, that's in the truest word. Now that you brought Dr. Coleman on, psychologists, you have all sorts of people. I know you have podiatrists and cardiologists, and you can give some of your staff some kudos. I mean, you have really figured out, and I don't know who does. I don't know what kind of water that they drink at your office or whatever they're drinking, something. But everybody seems to all be cloned
Everybody
that same
get a
way.
shot of espresso in the morning.
Espresso water.
Espresso water. But and people come to your office, and the one thing I have to say about Dr. Mencia, I just have to tell you this: if I go there and I have a meeting, and we get like 2 minutes to 9. We start at 8, and about 2 minutes to 9, he says, "Okay, that's it." We could be in the middle of a very important thing. I have to go. My patients are here. I mean, that's just beautiful that you try not to keep them waiting unless there's an emergency of some sort.
Yeah, it's part of the way I want to practice medicine, and I do a lot of marketing, and I teach other doctors about how to market their practice and how to become more successful. And one of the things that I have noticed when I go with a family member to a doctor and I have to sit in a room and wait there for 3 or 4 hours for the doctor to come in, half an hour I'm like ready to walk out. And I say in my practice I would never do that. The only time a person has to sit and wait there, if let's say I'm waiting for a result of an X-ray or something that is important, and I don't want the patient to leave because it's going to be part of my decision making.
I think it's important for us to realize that the patient's time is just as valuable as ours.
Exactly, especially the patient in as they age, we feel that they have nothing to do, and that's not true. They have to go and get their hair done and their nails done and play golf or something. It's their time.
Yeah.
They feel like they can wait there. No, it's not.
That's interesting. I never heard a doctor say that, but that's the opinion probably of some doctors that what does it matter? They're here anyway, right? Yeah, it's funny. I'm probably guilty of that, thinking about that, because there are times when I'll be in a doctor's office, and I always respect the doctor that I assume that he's very busy and he has patients he has to take care of, and I hear some of the mumbling going on from some of the older people, and I want to shake them and say, listen, he's doing an important thing. You have nothing to do with it. You see, I'm wrong. And I shouldn't have that attitude, but I guess I feel, okay, just wait. The doctor's got something important, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I see both sides of it.
I went with my mother-in-law to see a cardiologist, and we are waiting. It was like 45-minute wait in the room. And even the staff knew that I'm a physician sitting there with my mother-in-law. The staff knew that. This is another, this is a colleague. This is a doctor sitting there. Sometimes it don't have to be a doctor. It can be a lawyer that have to go back to work. One of my patients, the son is the CEO of one of the hospitals in Broward County. So when he comes, there are times also valuable. The caregiver that is coming with the patient. And so I'm sitting there almost 45 minutes. When I said, let me go and talk to the doctor because I'm not going to talk to the nurse anymore. So I walk to the back, and they think I'm looking for the bathroom. I go to the doctor's office. He's sitting down with a cup of coffee on the phone, talking about his golf game, how well he did, blah, blah, blah. He's sitting down on the phone, talking, drinking coffee. And then he put the phone down and he say, oh, hi, Dr. Mencia, how you doing? I say, well, I'm in room 4 over there waiting for you for 45 minutes and I have to go to work.
Yeah, that's scary.
Boy. One thing is when a doctor is so busy that you have to wait.
Or if there's something urgent.
Yeah.
Or something urgent and emergent. And usually when it's an emergency, I tell my staff, Steve, I tell the staff, okay, go to the other rooms and let them know there's an emergency in whatever room, they're going to have to wait today.
Oh, yeah, then they can understand.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. So if you're having an emergency, definitely let them know and they have a choice of waiting or not. Well, we've come to that
so
time,
let's tell them where they can come and see Dr. Coleman.
I'm going to do that. At 9, they can call for an appointment at 954-489-1345. 954-489-1345, the Adult and Geriatric Medical Center. And we are so happy that Dr. Steve Coleman came and Dr. Mencia, and we really appreciate your always being here, so enthusiastic, and we hope that you have a great weekend.
Thank you. And if you want to see Dr. Coleman, we have more than 13 providers there, so make sure you ask for him by name, so that when they set up the appointment, they set up an appointment with Dr. Coleman.
Just ask for the cute guy, and they'll find him. The cute guy that knows all about sex, right? That'll get him. He'll come running out as fast as he can. Anyway, thank you very much, and we're just going to go to a fast break, and then we'll be right back, and we have a very, very smart guy that's coming on, and it's Glenn Trotta, who is the sales manager, well, actually he's the marketing manager, vice president of marketing for Minto, Florida. So we'll be back with him.